What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be breaking down my costs for the Aventador SV. I've had it for about 6 months now, and I just want to share with you guys the cost of owning a car that costs this much, because it can be expensive, certain things, but a lot of things are not what you think they would be. Like, people think oil changes are very expensive, people think maintenance is crazy. I daily drive this. So this is my SV, and it is something I daily drive. I don't drive it a ton because I don't drive that much in general, but I probably I got it with 2,500 miles about 8 months ago, and now it's at about 6,000. I just hit 6,000, so about 3,500 miles I put on it. So 8 months, that's not too bad. I do also have a Range Rover, but I'm gonna be jumping on my computer and breaking down the cost for you guys of how much it has cost me, including the payment breakdown, the insurance for it, the gas, the oil, the maintenance, the tires, insurance, everything. So let's jump on my computer and I'll see you guys in 1 second. Alright, so we're on the computer. I made a little Excel sheet for you guys. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about is the car. So it's a 2016 Aventador SV. It has pretty much every option you can get on it. I don't think there's really anything except for maybe the pillars being Alcantara inside, but that's the only option it's missing. It has every other option on it. And it was used. I got it at 2,400 miles. And I was able to buy it for $470,000, which was a very good deal for a car that mileage and that spec. I could almost sell it for the same amount right now if I wanted to. Now, let's talk about financing. Now, I have videos separate on this if you want to know, but I leased the car, but I did put a good chunk down. The reason being, there's a bunch of tax benefits and whatnot when leasing a car, as far as write-offs and business use and whatnot. I'm not going to get into that. I have a separate video on that if you're interested. You can just search my channel. But I leased this car, but I also put a down payment down, so my payment was not that high monthly. So car was $470,000. I put $225,000 down, and I ended up financing $245,000. Now, some of the fees that came out right away, which would bump up my down payment more than $225,000, the sales tax. So sales tax is off of the amount I was financing, which is 7.75%. The title and registration was $3,800. Again, that's going to vary by state. So sales tax was $18,000. Registration title is $3,800. Acquisition fee was $1,000. I had to get it shipped and a couple other things. And dealer fees was $80. So in total, after all those fees and everything, the total price for me to own this car was $492,928 and some change. So I ended up financing $245,000, putting down the $225,000 plus all the fees and taxes and whatnot. So I ended up actually putting down about $248,000, a little less. So how the lease is set up is we're financing $245,000, like we said. It's over 60 months. Now, I do not plan to own this car the entire time. I have a purchase or buyout option at the end of the lease, which means my payments, so it's a $100,000 buyout option. That is my very last payment. The 60th month is $100,000. So my payment is very low because it looks like I'm financing $145,000 and my last payment's $100,000. So my payments are very low. Now, the reason being is I'm not going to keep this car for 5 years or 60 months. I'm going to get rid of it by then. And I have an amortization table, which I show in my other video, that I can purchase the car whenever I want, and I can see how much I have left, how much I have towards principal, how much I've paid towards interest. But I can see all that, and I can buy out the car. Let's say I want to sell the car. I don't want it anymore. I find a buyer. I have him pay me. I pay off the rest of what I owe on the lease, whatever it being, and that's it. That's all. I just pay that interest and those fees, and that's it. Now, I do have, my monthly payment is $3,479 a month flat. I get 3,500 miles a year. Now, I've driven that 8 months. However, the overage cost is $1.50 extra a mile. So if I were to drive this an extra 2,000 miles over 3,500, which I probably will do, it's going to cost me another $3,000. Now, in terms of value of the car and depreciating and driving 2,000 miles, that's not a lot. $1.50 a mile is very low for a car of this price. So I don't mind $1.50 a mile and driving a little extra. And the only other cost you'll see in here is an early termination fee, and that is if I buy out before the end of my lease, I do have to pay $3,479. So it's just one lease payment, which I am fine with because, again, it is not, in the grand scheme of the car, that's a very low percentage. So those are just the basic payments and the car cost for me. Now let's talk about running costs. So for me, I have two cars. I have my Range Rover SVR and I have the Lamborghini. Together, because I have my Range Rover as my daily driver, and I have the Lambo at about 3,500 miles a year I put, Range Rover I put about 5. My insurance is about $850 a month. I'm 23 years old, I have no tickets, I have no accidents, and that is the max coverage you can get. Now, that is not insanely high. When I had just the Huracan, it was about $300 a month for that insurance. Now, the reason being, a lot of people would think insurance would be higher on these type of cars. If my age wasn't a factor in here, I probably would only be paying $300 or $400. But because of my age, that is a big factor. One thing people don't keep in mind here is for insurance, they go off the type of car as well. Do you think there's a lot of people driving an Aventador SV that get in crashes a ton? No, a lot of these people are collectors. They don't drive the cars a ton. It's a lot of old guys that just keep them. So they're not very prone to accidents because they're not driven a lot. They're more collected or taken care of very well. So insurance does look at that, and that is a factor with them when it comes to calculating the cost. Reason being mine's high is more so my age. So keep that in mind. My insurance is $438.23 for the Lambo alone. Again, if I didn't have two cars on the policy, it would probably be about $150, $200 higher. Gas. I don't drive too much. I probably drive about 600 miles a month. So about $250 in gas. I get about 10 miles to the gallon. I don't know if that math adds up, but I usually get about 10 miles a gallon. It holds, I think it's 24 gallons or 22 gallons, but it holds a lot. Now, oil change. So these next two, oil change and tire change, I estimated you need every 6 months. And I have already gotten one oil change. I haven't gotten a tire change yet, but I know how much the tires cost and the maintenance for it. So the tires themselves are $1,200, and it would be another $200 on top of this, which I should fix for labor. So $1,400 for completely new tires. A lot of people think they're a lot more expensive tires. They're really not. And an oil change, a lot of people think it's like $5,000 or something ridiculous. To do it correctly through a certified person and getting the oil is $350. And most of that is labor. You don't need some crazy type of oil. You don't need some special key to do it. It's not that expensive. I have gotten this done, and it's $347. So in total, my monthly running costs for this, just insurance and gas, are $688.23. I have not had any maintenance on this car. I haven't had any issues. I have put an exhaust on. I have tuned it. I haven't included those in there because those are not normal running costs. Now, maintenance, I've never had an issue with one of my cars, and I keep them usually about a year. But I do put money aside. I put about $100, $200 a month aside for maintenance. Not that I really do that, but in my head, that's what I would assume it would cost. Let's say I have something wrong. I do have a warranty on the car, so I wouldn't have to spend money anyway. So that's why maintenance is at $0. So the 6 months I've owned the car, I have spent $5,876.38 in running costs. Now, some insurance and about the same amount in gas, regardless of the car I had, would be in there, but insurance would be cheaper if I did not have this exact car. Now, let's look at how much I've spent in interest. So this is what my lease looks like. I put loan, but it's a lease. So 6 months, these are my payments, and the first payment, you are paying more interest, and the longer the life of the loan or the lease, the more it goes towards principal and interest. Now, there's a lot of different types of leases and loans. This is a very specialized one. Most leases don't look like this, so you do have to do some tweaking and whatnot. But we'll say $3,500 is the payment. $1,340 goes to interest the first month, and $2,150 goes to principal. And you can see the 6 months. So in 6 months, I've paid $20,874 towards my payment. Interest was $7,000, we'll say $900 in interest, and the rest has gone towards principal of the car, paying down what I owe on the car. So let's add up the total cost for me to own this car over 6 months. So we bought it at $470,000. We paid $18,000 in sales tax, California. Title registration, $3,800. Acquisition, we know this, the dealer fee. So total in interest, $7,861. Insurance, we spent $2,600. Gas, oil, tires, we talked about. We're going to change this to $1,400. Maintenance, none. So our total cost of the car, including everything, is $506,000, $667. Oh, so I think I could sell the car for exactly what I bought it for, especially with the add-ons I put on. The exhaust, it's clear broad, it has a tune, and it only has 6,000 miles. And comparing to what's on the market now, I'd say within, at lowest, I could sell this for $460 if I sold it myself. $470, I think I could definitely get. Has every option. It's in great condition. If I sold it for $470, you can see my total cost of owning over these 6 months would have been $36,667, and my monthly cost of owning would be $6,000. Now, this number will drastically change the longer I own the car. It'll be less and less per month. Now, this will slowly go up, but you got to remember, I'm paying less interest each month. The sales tax is only distributed over those 6 months, or it looks like it is, when in reality, if I kept the car 5 years, it would be distributed over 5 years. It looks like that. So I hope that makes sense. I didn't explain that well, but the longer I own the car, the less per month it would be of owning it. When I did the Huracan, I think it was like $2,000 a month, not even $2,500. So you can see these are what the costs look like. So this cost is not monthly, not monthly. None of these are monthly. The interest would go down. So I pay about we'll say $1,200 in interest a month for the next 6 months. And then I would not pay this or most of these, and I would just pay the gas and maybe oils and tire one more time. So that would make the cost of owning the car monthly go way down. Now, if you have to think about these things when you're looking to buy a car, yes, there are definitely things you need to think of, but if it's something you're worried about or stressing about, how much gas is going to cost you or an oil change or tires, obviously know what they cost, do your research, but if it's something you're worrying about, then it's maybe not the right time to buy a car. You might not financially be there. And the reason I put money down on these cars is, one, it's easier to get financing. Two, I feel more comfortable with a $3,500 a month payment than a $7,000 a month payment putting no money down. Now, is that the best financial decision? Probably not, because I could invest that money, get a higher return with investing. Again, that's a risk as well. But I feel more comfortable. And one other thing to consider is if I had an insanely high payment, let's say $7,000, $8,000, along with other costs, if I were to go try and buy a second property, which I'm looking at now, I would have more trouble because my debt to income would be a lot different because my payment is double. It really does depend on taxes, how you set up the lease and everything, but I wanted to share the running costs because I do get asked this a lot. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next video.